Hey, it's State of State. We got your Nittany Line update. It's a football discussion with Tom and Justin, so kick back and press play.
With former Penn State and NFL defensive back Justin King, I'm Tom Hannafin. This is State of State. Please like, comment, subscribe, rate us, and turn on notifications. Follow us on social media at State of State Pod. Comment on our YouTube channel. And if you haven't done so already, you can become a member of our YouTube channel. For just 99 cents a month, you can get all upcoming episodes of State of State, plus our entire members-only playlist, ad-free, commercial-free. Hit the join button on our homepage or follow the link in the description of this podcast. This podcast is presented by BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on all the madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to a $200,000 bracket contest. BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. Penn State fans, are you feeling confident that the Nittany Lions can win college football's national championship next season, or that Abdul Carter will go number one overall in the upcoming NFL draft? Lock in your futures bet at betonline.ag today. State of State is presented by BetOnline. The game starts here. State of State is a proud supporter of Blue White Outfitters. Blue White Outfitters was created as a retail shop meant to highlight the confidence, competitiveness, and fearlessness of the elite athletes found throughout the history of Penn State University. Check out their Lockdown U and Lawn Boys merchandise today. All sales from Blue White Outfitters directly benefit Penn State student athletes. Also, official State of State merchandise is available now. Support the show and grab State of State t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. Visit www.bluewhiteoutfitters.com today. Hi, everyone, and welcome to State of State. I'm Tom Hannafin, joined by Justin King. We are continuing to react to the news that broke earlier on this week that Penn State has agreed to a naming rights deal with West Shore Home so that in the future, starting with the 2025 season through 2039, Penn State's home turf will be known as West Shore Home Field at Beaver Stadium. This is a groundbreaking move for Penn State. 15 years, $50 million, roughly $3.3 million annually. This is a positive for Penn State athletics, period. This is not just about the football program. This does go further than that. However, Justin, there's been a substantial amount of backlash online regarding this. Penn State fans, for the most part, are disappointed, I think, by this. It seems just kind of reading the tea leaves and getting the general feeling from the fan base. This passed 22-8 through the Board of Trustees. Notable members such as Brandon Short, Anthony Lebrano, Matt McGloin, Jay Paterno were people that did not want to see this pass, necessarily not because of the financial benefits, but there is this lingering feeling of why hasn't the field already been named Paterno Field at Beaver Stadium? That sentiment's been around for a while, as you well know. So I wanted to hear from you as someone who played for Joe, how you feel about this circumstance.
It's interesting because maybe it's just like the exposure to the business, but it doesn't like cross over in my brain when I think of college stadiums and naming of the stadiums having anything to do with impact to the university, right? It's not like in high school, I think of it's like the impact of like, hey, this person was a legend here. Like they just name out whole high school coach, a track coach is name the track and things of that nature. But, Liddell Sargent, shout out to Liddell. He's, development, senior exec development officer at Penn State currently. And so hearing him talk about, raising money for naming rights and things of that nature, maybe it's just understanding that part where I always thought anybody's name that was on a building or that had something to do with that. I mean, they paid for it, even the library, right? Like they
field at Lebrano Park, the baseball
100%. Like there's money attached to it. So I never really thought it was going to be like a forfeiting an opportunity for revenue generating things for the institution to name it, the Joe Paterno Field, unless the Paterno family was going to donate the money to have those naming rights. So I think those are just apples and oranges of a conversation in the current sports business landscape that we're in.
I framed it earlier on this week is that this is very much a heart versus brain thing. And my heart, of course, I would love to see it be Paterno Field at Beaver Stadium. It makes a lot of sense. But my brain can reasonably look at this and see how this is an enormous benefit for the entirety of the Penn State athletics program. And I think that's something that people forget is that this is a university, by the way, that is potentially shutting down 12 campuses in the very near future. And yes, people are like, well, you're pouring more money into athletics. And I think it was Bobby Bowden who might have said it at one point. I might have the reference wrong, but I've heard the quote a number of times. Athletics, sports, football specifically, they're the front porch of the university. They're the front porch of the house. And this helps draw in people that want to go to the school, that want to be a part of the community. And as much as people want to see their favorite athletics programs at Penn State continue to thrive, okay, that happens one way. You need money to do it, period. The other thing is that there is precedent for this. There have been stories online now for a 2-year period from 2022 to 2024. The Ohio State Buckeyes, their stadium was known as Safe Light Field at Ohio Stadium. So for those out there that think this is sacrilege, okay, there is precedent. And I can argue the opposite side. Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium for the Alabama Crimson Tide. You've seen it go multiple directions. My thought is, Justin, Penn State has been behind on the NIL thing, the NIL game marketing, as Pat Kraft has referred to it as, for a number of years now. And it feels like they finally caught up. And especially when you put $700 million into your stadium revitalization project and you get over $130 million now in gifts in regards to that project, this $50 million gift from West Shore Home and the Wurzen family, by the way, BJ Wurzen, a graduate of Penn State University, is the second largest gift in athletics program history, only behind Terry Pagula and what they did for the ice hockey program, men's and women's. So what would you like? Would you like the programs to continue to thrive? Would you like these young men and women to continue to have opportunities and win and give you a reason to cheer and buy a ticket and tune in on TV and buy a t-shirt? Or do you want to see this so badly that you're okay with taking a hit and continuing to be behind? Especially for Penn State football, 2025 is your chips are all in to win a national championship.
All chips are in, and somebody like BJ, shout out to him, has been at the forefront of NIL, and we just talk about supporting the program since the beginning. He's one of the people that I mean, even from when we did some engagements at the very beginning, that he was there funding the situation. James echoed how important he was to the whole thing and how he came in big and different areas. And so for them to have the naming rights in this new age, I actually feel like not that they earned it, but they kind of were the one group that was at the forefront when all this NIL thing came about. And so to get the naming rights, again, I separate it from a level of, deserving or from your contributions to the university, because there are, I guess, like standards of getting the building named after you. I mean, we have Paterno and, have the library. Like, so there's been operations like, if you want to put your name on a building, this is what happens. And this is how it goes about it. So, I mean, I don't think it's a conversation, but I can understand why people might feel that way or want the stadium to be named the Paterno Field. But at the same time, for the sake of what we're doing, like, right, if you're just naming it West Shore Homes Stadium, and like West Shore Homes is a big contributor to the NIL, we're talking about talent acquisition, like where we're at and operating in the business. I don't understand any other conversation, to be completely honest.
It's beyond football. It's that all these athletics programs that don't make any money, this matters. This makes a difference, especially for those that are national championship caliber. There's a quote on X from Michael Maudie, who's a friend of the show. I have the utmost respect for Michael. He said, quote, "I played for Joe Paterno. My dad played for Joe. My brother played for Joe. Certain his legacy isn't about a name on a field. It's about what we do on it and the impact we make outside the lines. In my opinion, best way to honor him is to go win a national title. Let's get aligned around that. We are." What do you feel about that?
Back to the basics, man. It's not real. Like, again, it's like, I don't know how they're correlated, right? Like the big house isn't the Coach
Schembechler.
Lloyd or Schembechler Stadium. I guess the
Woody
Woody,
Hayes Field at
but like
Ohio
they
Stadium.
also, but I want to say that was a little bit different, like in the sense of like it was named that before like the big naming rights and everything was kind of coming about. But again, I think Marty's sentiment is accurate, right? If you want to honor win a national championship, but I think it's just a distraction. If I'm just being honest, like that's why I can't even wrap my mind around it because it just doesn't make business sense. Like to just not use the naming rights of the stadium as a revenue generator when you're still trying to do everything within this sports landscape. I mean, is that if that's what they're proposing, or is it just the goodwill of, let's say, the goodwill of amateur athletics to just name it after my coach? I'm one of the biggest Joe Pa fans that there are that exist, right? So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting when you look at the landscape of sports and just like maybe the Paterno family names the head coach position. That would be probably better. Like the Paterno should name it uh the Paterno head coach position because you can name positions, football positions across different schools. So
Yeah,
like
that's very
everything's for
common.
sale. You
It's
know what
very
I mean?
common.
So
And there's a great article on SI.com that kind of compiles a lot of the things coming out of the Board of Trustees meeting. And the quote from this article says, as a result, the trustees meeting became a referendum regarding Paterno. McGloin was quoted as saying, "You're trying to erase 46 years as a head coach." Brandon Short, who is a friend of the show, and I also have the utmost respect for, was quoted as saying, "I believe that Penn State has a bright future, and the future is much more important than the past, but I don't believe we can reach our full potential by simply telling our alumni to move forward." Anthony Lebrano was quoted as saying, quote, "This is a sad and sobering day," added that Penn State was, quote, "about to sell our souls, and in doing so, turn our backs on two people who gave so much to this institution, Joe and Sue Paterno." I understand the emotional sentiment. I really do. And like I said, like me as a fan, as an alum of the university, I would love to see it be Paterno Field at Beaver Stadium. Completely agree with that sentiment. I also completely agree with Michael Maudy saying Joe could probably have given a damn about any of this in terms of he would want what is best for the program and the university. People point towards the statue being torn down. I don't think that's a situation where that's never going to be restored. Also, people are acting like this is one of these naming rights deals that's in perpetuity, or that it's some grotesquely offensive company or company name or something like that. Shoot, I remember when the Philadelphia Union and MLS had bimbo across the front of their jersey. Like, this could be worse, people. This is a central Pennsylvania company from a central Pennsylvania family with ties to the university, and it's West Shore home. Like, it couldn't be any more digestible. And
adding to the fact that they've probably been supporting NIL
they have been.
more so than anybody else. So it's just like to have a problem with that is just it just seems misinformed. But that's just like if there's anybody that's like stepping up to say, "Hey, we're trying to help what's going on now," like West Shore Homes, I know they've been heavily involved. So like for them to even have the naming rights and people to have a problem with it, like I feel like they've closed a lot of the gaps, even to say like where the program is now, to even have I say validation or why we want to have $700 million going to a stadium to begin with. Like that, it's that valuable. Like they've kind of been on the front line. So to kind of make it seem like, I don't know.
To make it, I think I know what you're saying is like to make it seem like they're not one of us or they're
yeah,
not
it's just like, but
part of
they've
this
been stepping
community.
up when everybody else
They
hasn't.
have
And
been
so like,
stepping up.
yeah, so it's just like, hey, congratulations to BJ and West Shore Homes. And again, I'm a Joe Pod guy, so I just think it's apples and oranges.
And to the point I was making before, this deal runs through 2039. So this isn't forever. Oh, and by the way, the stadium is still called Beaver Stadium. You'll hear a handful of mentions of this on television, that it's West Shore home field at Beaver Stadium, maybe once or twice a broadcast. You'll hear it in the PA announcements. You'll see a few more logos splattered around the stadium. That's normal. I do want to reply or at least air out some of the comments that we've gotten on YouTube because our fans are great and you guys continue to be involved in this show and we appreciate it so much. This is from @DDGDAK00, quote, feel like it would have been just as easy to call it Paterno Field, presented by West Shore Home, and still put their logo on it, etc. That's not really how these things work. Unfortunately, it is. I referenced it earlier on this week, Justin, as that I believe the Kansas City Chiefs stadium is GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. There's another iconic venue that has something attached to it. Robert Kaufman, 8137, saying, quote, sold out for less than 2% of the budget, lost a chance to build on the Paterno legacy, put the statue back, and name the stadium for the man who built it. At Cave Thug, maybe we'll be cutting edge and start selling sponsorship patches for the uniforms too. Maybe a corporate logo midfield. Screw tradition. It's not like they'd ever tear down the statue of the most winningest coach in NCAA football history, right? Obviously very sarcastic there. Here's another thing, guys. The sponsorship patches, logos on the field, very likely to happen. It's happened elsewhere in college football. The patches on the uniform that would be a huge jump. I don't know if I've seen that anywhere else. But in terms of logos on the field, that's pretty commonplace now in college football. Like, this is just kind of how these things have evolved. And like, I'm with you guys in terms of the tradition. I would love to see everything stay exactly the same that it was from the first day that I ever went to Beaver Stadium as a kid and watched LeVar Arrington terrorize Antoine Randall. I would love to see it all stay the same. But Justin, it's like, this is the reality. This is the world we're living in. And it's adapt or die, keep up or get left behind. You either bring in money and support your athletics program, specifically your football program, or you're not going to accomplish all these goals that you guys want to see.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's pretty black and white. I mean, it comes down to resources and all those different type of things. And college athletics, this is how, I mean, you generate revenue in different areas. And like you said, it's a 15-year deal. Let's win the national championship.
Yeah.
Everybody will forget about it.
This one is from @Thurgood. If that family really cared about the program, they would understand why this is a terrible change, and this is not helping PSU stand out from other, quote, brands in college football. It's removing what makes them special. This one is from @Kevin Luzier, 799. I don't like it getting game ruined. So I'll be devil's advocate. You guys going to stop buying tickets? You stop watching the games?
Yeah.
Still going to go, right? I'm going to go. I love my team. I love my school. I want to see them win a national title. Like,
I guess it's cool that everybody's still emotionally like.
I love that everybody's emotionally fired, and that it's
attached like that. That's cool.
It's the thing that kills me. And Justin, like, you obviously knew the man, knew the family, know the family. It's like, yeah, like, I agree with you, but like, this is a business, and this is, by the way, a tremendous opportunity. Most of these naming rights deals, by the way, elsewhere in college football, they're in perpetuity. They go on for as long as the school and the company are cool with it, obviously, but most of these deals are in perpetuity. I mentioned the short-term deal that Ohio State did. That was $2.5 million per year. You're getting $3.3 million per year for this. Okay. Look at the good that you can do for the entirety of your athletics program with this.
I mean, yeah. And then West Shore Homes is looking at it as an investment into their marketing budget, right? Like, if everybody understands what West Shore Homes is, and I mean, I'm here in Pittsburgh, I see it every once in a while now. I feel like since NIL has happened at Penn State, I've seen West Shore Homes much more than I've ever seen before. Like, on the road, I'm like, oh, it's all over. But so, I mean, the whole part of this whole NIL and naming rights now that is kind of coming into like the marketing and those different like licensing rights for the schools and different things of that nature. I mean, this is a part of the business. I'm in Pittsburgh where they just named it Acrisure Stadium, right? No one really loves it, right? Like, it started off as Hines, Three Rivers, everything that was like really emotionally attached to Pittsburgh, and then next thing you know, it's Acrisure. But it's still the stadium, and people are going to be there. People want to show up, and guys' checks are still going to get signed, and Acrisure is going to have a little bit more marketing. So it's all good.
Last question to you on this, because I think this is the greater issue that people maybe are getting missed in this, is the health and lifespan of Beaver Stadium. I love the stadium as much as anybody. It's my Mecca. It's not in great shape. To put nearly $1 billion into it, this revitalization project, it's long overdue. and you need to make sure that this cathedral of college football is able to endure into the future. But as someone who's played there and been there for a million times throughout your life, Justin, I think it would be naive to assume that just because this investment is being put into it, meaning that this existing structure, Beaver Stadium, is going to now last for the rest of our lifetimes. Like, there will be a day where they're probably gonna be like, we need to tear this down and we need to start over again. Then you guys are really going to freak out and be like, oh, by the way, we wish we had more money to save this thing. Look what happened.
Right. I mean, but that is what happens, right? In college sports. Because I remember they used to spend money to remain a nonprofit, right? Like, get the money to just do capital projects and things of this nature. This is more like an infrastructure deal where like they're doing needed maintenance to the field. So even from that standpoint, it's not, I don't know. I guess it's interesting. It just never crossed over that they would even name it that unless the Paterno family was going to pay for the naming rights to the stadium. So,
and the counter to that is, hasn't the Paterno family done enough, donated enough to the university? So, like, listen, like,
I guess my thing is like they have, and then when they did, they named the library after them, and like that's that was the process of the school doing it. I don't know. I mean, this is me having teammates, like, not that just naming rights in college sports. I guess it's just when you know what the fundamentals are, like, I think that's deviating from the norm, is what people are saying. So, like, to say, like, let's acknowledge that, like, okay, to name it just Paterno Field for without any revenue coming from it, or just from the goodness of their heart, or just like the impact from the past, I think that would be against the norm of the industry. Like, so, I mean, as long as we acknowledge that, it's fine.
And it's also honoring Joe Paterno. I don't believe the university is trying to erase Joe Paterno. Let's not ignore the horror of the Sandusky scandal. And I think that inevitably comes up whenever you think about, okay, how are we going to honor Joe Paterno, something like that. And I get it. It's an extremely delicate, sensitive, complicated, horrific situation. Put yourself in the shoes of the university. How would you handle this? It's tough.
Show me the money. It's not that tough.
Let us know what you think in the comments section. We so appreciate you guys getting involved and caring about this. Like I just said, and Justin, I think we share the same sentiment, is that, yeah, like, our hearts would love to see it be Paterno Field at Beaver Stadium. That would be amazing. But this is a business, and this is moving forward, and this is trying to make sure that all the things that we love, whether it's football, wrestling, fencing, basketball, baseball, hockey, it doesn't matter, that these things continue to live on and provide us with great moments, great opportunities for young people. Like, damn, this is a great way to help kids get themselves a better education, a better life, and further their careers, whether it's athletically or any other way. Like, am I crazy for thinking that?
I don't know. I don't know if that's a joke or not, but
No, it's not. It's not a joke. It's like, if this extra money allows Cale Sanderson to go offer an opportunity to a kid to come compete for Penn State wrestling, that opportunity wasn't there before, then isn't that a good thing?
Opportunities are great.
Let us know what you guys think. We appreciate you guys all so much. I know this is a delicate, sensitive subject, but we appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in on State of State.
Thank you all so much for joining us. This episode and our entire library of shows is available now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Please like, comment, subscribe, rate us, and turn on notifications. Follow us on social media at State of State Pod. Comment on our YouTube channel. And if you haven't done so already, you can become a member of our YouTube channel. For just 99 cents a month, you can get all upcoming episodes of State of State, plus our entire members-only playlist, ad-free, commercial-free. Hit the join button on our homepage or follow the link in the description of this podcast. State of State is presented by BetOnline and by Blue White Outfitters.